And good morning and welcome to the VSA Capital 5-Minute Morning Miner. It's Wednesday, the 25th of January. Paul, how are you? You're off to the States this afternoon, aren't you?
No, not till tomorrow. Tomorrow noontime, roughly.
I've got myself completely confused, haven't I? I'm sorry. Anyway, but you're not recording tomorrow, is that right?
That's true.
Come on, let's crack on with the mining news. People don't want to hear all this titter-tatter. Let's start with Fresnillo, because we do like a bit of Mexican silver.
Yep, we've got Fresnillo production results were put out today. Quarterly silver production, 12.5 million ounces, which was down 7.8% versus the third quarter of 2022. For the full year, the silver output just shy of 54 million ounces, which was in line with guidance and slightly above what it was a year ago. Juanicipio mine, they are in the process of getting that up and going. It has been tied into the national grid utility-wise, so now it's the focus is about getting it the plant connected up by the end of this quarter completely so that its commissioning can go immediately after that. And they do think that the gold production being at up 5.5% on the third quarter of 2022 at 168,000 ounces, they do think that it will improve somewhat, though it was down on the year at 15%. So corporately, so we'll see how they do at this point in time.
Yeah, stock's off a tiny little bit. Wasn't too impressed. Of course, for all those regular listeners, you'll know that the way we like to play Mexican silver is, of course, called Guanajuato silver, which is a mini Fresnillo and doing exceptionally well. Right. Paul, actually, I tell you what, that just caught my eye. Was Neo Metals done a sort of a joint venture with Australian Vanadium? What's that all about, Paul?
Yes, that is a memorandum of understanding signed between the two groups, both ASX listed, both of them in the iron, titanium, vanadium mine deposit space in West Australia. And the whole point is they have decided they will try to cooperate in order to jointly develop to best synergies both of their operations or both of their deposits there in West Australia. So they would look to be coordinating the logistics as well as some of the facility preparations, which don't involve the plant or the mine specifically itself, but it would be things like pipeline access and utility connections and that sort of thing. The whole idea being that both operations would therefore have operating costs which would be a little bit less, and the capex also being shared would allow them for certain cost savings as well.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. What do you want to talk about next?
American Lithium, good old Shanghai Mining Club member, client of VSA, they did announce yesterday they bought back a royalty on their Tonopah lithium clay project, Tonopah, Nevada. They will be issuing 950,000 common shares to the royalty holder in order to cancel that out, and those shares will be held to statutory hold of 4 months and 1 day. And as a result, the project will be back to 100% full control by American Lithium, which plans to release the PEA for this clay lithium project in coming days.
Good. We like good news there.
Yep, we sure do.
Keep going, Paul.
Yep. We've got a new Braylorn mine and district release on resources compliant there for that project up in BC, held by TSX listed Talisker Resources. This one is I've been following for a little bit here, and it does impress me in several cases that Talisker has proven several things about this particular deposit that wasn't found or otherwise recognized by previous owners, the last of which was a Vino silver and gold. For instance, this deposit is multi-million ounce now from just having enough drilling money spent on it. They have found a total of 84 veins, of which hardly a dozen of those were historic producing veins, but 84 of them now they know have gold in them. It is intrusion hosted, so it's the IRGS style of mineralization, and they have confirmed that there is a limited amount of distribution of gold into the wall rock along the veins. It's never been mined that way before, and they had discovered bulk mineable, low-grade, intrusion-hosted gold on this deposit, which had never been identified before. So for roughly a 1.5 million ounce resource at this point, most of which is inferred simply because of drill density, it's a really good progress on this project.
Very good. I thought you may also mention this morning, I know it's one of your sort of favorites, Paul, is East Star, the uncredited Kazakh miner.
Well, yes, that's right. East Star, early stage explorer on Kazakhstan projects. It is listed here in London. The key point on this one is they do for sure have a really extensive volcanic massive sulfide deposit there on one of their licenses. It was historically drilled in the past, so all they're doing is bringing the geologic understanding of a historically drilled deposit in the 1990s under Russian standards into the modern world, as it were. It's called the Verkuba deposit. It covers that ore district 10 kilometers by 3 kilometers in size, 45,000 meters of historic drilling on it, with drill grades from or near surface at 11 meters at 2.8% copper and 1.3% zinc, 15 meters at 0.9 copper, 3% zinc, those kinds of numbers historically. It was flotation tested in the past, 94 to 96% copper recoveries, and it is otherwise been flown now with a modern HEM helicopter geophysics, which has discovered extensions in several parts of the license that haven't been tested. So just saying that there is an awful lot of unrecognized opportunity on East Star's ground and across Kazakhstan in general.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I mean, we know you can be very successful in Kazakhstan because we've got Camel, one of the best mining juniors out there in the world, being very successful in Kazakhstan. And we've seen quite a few very interesting Kazakhstan projects recently, Paul, haven't we? And I mean, you have this old Russian sort of, research and geology done, and then all you've got to do is modernize it all, and you've got potentially some really interesting assets. Of course, the big question is Kazakhstan currently a jurisdiction where people feel comfortable, obviously, with the current, Russian-Ukraine situation? You have to make up your own mind on that, but we have seen some really good projects, haven't we, Paul?
Yes, that is right, and East Star has even more of them as well. They have a really interesting rare earths project out there in Kazakhstan as well. Polymetal, who has operated in Kazakhstan for a number of years now, listed here, also gave their quarterlies today, but they also said in their quarterlies that in order to play the geopolitics for best benefit of shareholders, they may move their primary exchange listing to Astana, the Kazakh exchange, in order to better deal with the issues around the geopolitics.
Yeah, I'm not sure they'll get quite the same liquidity as the London Stock Exchange. Not the London Stock Exchange has great liquidity at the moment either, although actually there is a bit of a spring in the steps in the market at the moment. There's a lot more liquidity around, there's more capital around. I'm not saying the prices have to go higher, there's just more liquidity and more capital. Anyway, on that note, Paul, we've been talking for far too long. But hopefully it was interesting, and we won't speak again tomorrow, I don't think, because you will be getting on your flight, if I get it correct. And I hope all goes well whilst you're out there, and still my condolences to all your family, Paul. And I'll be back with Ollie tomorrow.
Very good. I'll see you a week from tomorrow.